Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host Scotty McCoy, and I have a guest from it is my favorite TV show ever. I watched it 13 times on Netflix straight through. I have Michael Coleman, and he played Happy on Once Upon a Time. Hey Michael, how are you doing?
Hi ho, hi ho. I am very good. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I am very excited about this interview. You're my first Once Upon a Time interview, and like I said, I literally watched the show 13 times on Netflix straight from season 1 through 7. I am a huge
Well,
fan.
thank you. That's awesome. Thank you
Thank you.
for that.
Not a problem. So the first question I got is, how did you get your start into acting?
You know what's so funny you asked that? I actually was literally haven't thought about that in ever, and I was actually driving the other day thinking about it, and and it's so weird because I actually got started when I was about 9 years old, and I was in my elementary school play, and the play was called The Dump Monster, and I played the Dump Monster, and my costume was a box with a bunch of cuts of newspaper that strips that became my hair, and the eyes were cut out. And it was just, it was a very simple costume. My mother and I made it together, and I was 9 years old, and I became madly in love with the idea of being able to make people feel things or make people think about things. And I feel really lucky that I experienced at such an early age,
Right.
that I've always, since that time, I've just had a real reverence for story and the power of story. So, yeah, from a very early age, that's how I got started. And then even when I was in high school, I'm old enough now that it was pre-internet, and I used to look at the back of the newspaper ads for different spaces that would let you come do stand-up or sketch comedy or improv, and I was always looking for stage time. And yeah, I was just madly in love with the whole idea of performing or entertaining from an early age.
Awesome. That's so cool. So, what was your audition like for Once Upon a Time?
Uh, my audition for this time was really interesting. So my wife and I was driving to the audition, and it's a studio that's not too far from my home. And my wife had called me just prior to the audition and let me know that we were pregnant with our first child,
Nice.
my oldest daughter. And I know they they were having trouble finding the character Happy and a few other characters. They had done searches and they hadn't been able to find any actors for certain roles at that
Right.
point, and I had a smile on my face that you couldn't punch off. And yeah, so I distinctly remember walking into that audition, and it's not that I didn't care, it's just I cared about something more at that second in time because I just discovered that I had created life with the person I love, and I was just like, probably not as focused as I should be, but in a wonderful way. I was a level of happy that most people only experience when they find out they're giving birth to their first child, or
Right.
having their first child. So, yeah, I think I actually remember it was one of the executive producers that said to me, "So, are you happy?" And I explained, "I just found out my wife and I are pregnant with the first kid. I dare you to prove otherwise." And we all had a good laugh. And I think at that point I wanted to pull a George Costanza from Seinfeld and say,
Uh-huh.
"All right, that's my time. I'm out of here. I think I just booked this thing and I never even sent anything."
And it's funny because I absolutely love Seinfeld, so I definitely got that reference.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. And I mean, yeah, like you said, and you can even tell, like, now you could tell your daughter, like, hey, you're the reason why I was on this like hit TV show. You brought me this joy and happiness right before my audition.
Oh, for sure. Well, for sure. And I feel really privileged. I have two daughters right now. They're
Okay.
almost 9 and 5 years old, but they grew up with this show.
Nice.
Most of my castmates, they all have kids around the same age as my kids, and it's
Right.
really fun that we've got this extended family where, we'll get a call at the house from Captain Hook or Robin Hood or the
Right.
Evil Queen as a friend, Snow White's somebody we can hang out with. I guess it's fun that, for the kids to, they're also a little spoiled with that, but it's pretty cool. Like
Right.
I still remember when it was season 4. My daughter, oh gosh, she would have been like 3 or 4 years old. Magical time in her life, and she literally sat on Elsa's lap as we watched season 4, where we introduced Anna and Elsa to the show. Like, it's an
Nice.
experience, and it's like, holy cow, that's pretty hard to replicate.
Right.
Like, I hope you enjoy this because I can't top it.
That's awesome. So what did your daughters think when they first seen you in the show? Like, did they know you were in it at first? And like, what were their thoughts when they first seen you like on the screen?
I think they always seem to like it, but I don't think it really registers with them because I'm also just kind of the guy who makes dinner and takes out the garbage, and like I don't think like I get the impression sometimes my kids wonder, Daddy, why the heck did you walk in the middle of that shot? All the talented people were working, and then you just jumped on screen in front of them. I mean, well, guys, I'm actually one of these guys. Like, Dad does this too. Dad, get out of the shop.
That's hilarious. It's funny because, like, as they say, children say the darndest things, and that's like one of those things that's like it's like it's a cute, precious moment. You know what I mean?
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. Yeah, I feel really loved. My kids are great, and my kids are a lot like me, like in the sense of we just love stories. Like
Right.
we read a lot of books at home. We
Nice.
put on a lot of funny voices. We like to be ridiculous, and yeah, I'm not that different from my character in real life. So
That's
we have a
awesome.
good time here at the house.
And that's even better being pretty much the same as your character because I mean you don't really got to act because you're being
No,
yourself.
that's exactly it. Yeah, like if anybody had to watch me act, what a nightmare.
So during the filming of season 1, did you or any of the other cast members think that this show would be as big as it has become? And did you think there would be a season 2 after the curse was broken?
You know what? I'll say this. I distinctly remember a lot of us asking each other every season, hey, do you guys think anybody's going to let us make another season of this thing? And, so, I felt like we did a lot of that. But I'm not sure if it really clicked in. I think one of the things that made it feel a little different is, a lot of us have been on a lot of shows, and, one of the, like, the people we had, Bobby Carlisle, Ginnifer Goodwin, Lana Parrilla, Rebecca Mader, Sean McGuire, all these people have been on, like, just epic shows and countless
Right.
times. But one of the unique things is it was really weird for all of us, including the people that maybe had a little bit more success, that, all these people would travel from all around the world to just come watch us film it.
Right.
And it was an experience that most of us had just never even thought of before. It's like, is there a sense to watch us make it? Holy cow. Like, who would do that? That's insane. What a nice thing for you to all do. Thank you.
Right. Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know if we really knew what we had on our hands, to be honest
Right.
with you.
Right, and it's funny because I was at the convention in 2018 down in Whippany, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was funny because with I know Jared Gilmore said at his one panel, he said that like I guess one of the questions that one of the fans in attendance asked him, they asked, did you think that there was going to be a season 2? And he said, honestly, I thought after season 1 and and when I found out the curse was going to be broken by the end of the season, this show wasn't going to last. It wasn't going to stand a chance because the premise of the show is that there's this curse, and when it's broken, what's left? But there was a lot left.
Yes, there was. Yeah, so I think we were really fortunate to have a really incredibly talented staff of writers on the show.
Right.
I think we were really blessed to have some incredible actors. A lot of people, unless you're really thinking about it, like all the characters that came in later seasons, like.
Right.
Michael Raymond James, Sean McGuire, Rebecca Mader, like all these people that came in at different times, or even just the ability to have a Raphael Sabarge who played on Jiminy Cricket, like to have that talent and that caliber there, or to come in late, like it was just, there was a lot of really cool things that happened at the right time.
Exactly, and one thing I loved about this show, like the most, was probably its unpredictability. Like just the fact that you don't know, you think like, because even though Captain Hook was introduced in season 2, but it led into the Peter Pan arc in the first half of season 3, you're thinking like, Captain Hook's gonna be this villain, at the end of the day, because he isn't Peter Pan. But they reversed the crap out of that, and Peter Pan was the ultimate demon.
Oh, for sure.
Like, it was great.
What a holy cow, great human being in real life, and just a brilliant young actor. Just what an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And we had that with a lot of guys, all the different younger actors that we had come through the series were just absolutely fantastic,
Yeah.
acting well beyond their years. So.
Yes, exactly. So what was it like working with Ginnifer Goodwin and Josh Dallas?
Great. You know what? Really, really, really nice. And they've got kids around the same age as my kids in terms of, so we all have a lot in common. And a lot of us, we were at each other's baby showers and
That's
birthdays
awesome.
and all these sorts of fun things. And, in the early years, I remember Snow White would take the Seven Dwarfs out for breakfast or something. If we had a late night, we'd, wrap set at 4 or 5 in the morning and then all go to Denny's, and that was always fun. And
Nice.
Josh has become a good friend. Josh and I used to, on our days off, we'd go golfing, and it'd be kind of fun too. Like, you'd have, Grumpy, Happy, Dr. Whale, and
Right.
Prince Charming all going golfing together. So it was always kind of fun. And, it was always kind of fun whenever my non-Once Upon a Time friends would be like, hey, do you want to hang out? And I was like, I can't. I got to go to Captain Hook's house for a minute.
Right.
I got to stop by Jimmy Cricket. It always
That's
sounded so
awesome.
ridiculous. But in our world, it's like, no, those are who my friends are.
Yep, exactly. So I'm going to tell you a story after I ask you the question for this next question, because
Sure.
it involves her. But what about Lana Parrilla? What was it like working with her?
You know what? I cannot say enough things about Lana Parrilla. I think she is. I think she's, first of all, I think she's an incredibly talented performer. I think her performance in Once Upon a Time, her balance of being arguably our most evil character. I mean, you can debate it with some of the others like Rumple and all the others,
Right.
but her journey from where she went to the trauma she experienced to the redemption she experienced was just epic. And, she was just, like, as a performer, like, actor to actor, holy cow, hats off. What a brilliant journey over 7 years. And then on top of that, what an incredible human being. Like, I got really sick during one of the seasons, and I was in intensive care for a while, and just sort of the love and affection and the support, it was just mind-blowing. Right. And I just, the way she's with my kids, and just brilliant, beautiful human being.
Nice. Yeah, and the thing is, like, you said she's one of the most. You could debate it with other characters, but she's one of the most evil characters in the movie. I mean, in the series, and she really is. The evil's in her name, and like the character is just so complex. It's got so many layers and so many avenues to her. From like you said, the redemption to the evil to the revenge to to the depressing and the sorrow and the sadness and everything. Like, it just got so many layers to this character. Like, and it evolved over time. It's so hard to do all that in one character, especially from season to season, and just add to this character. And she did it beautifully.
Yeah,
and
she was just amazing. And you think about it, I mean, she's working long days, long hours, day after day, week after week, month after month. Like, the amount of emotion that because remember, she's experiencing all that emotion in real time while she's acting. It's a lot. Like, that's fatiguing. And her ability to be that consistent for 7 straight years. And I think, and I also think she built an incredible fan following because of her ability to be such an incredibly gifted performer and human being, and then to see what she does with that influence and how she uses it for positivity throughout the world, like, it's a really, really cool thing to see up close.
Completely agree. So the story I'm gonna tell is so, like I said, I was at the convention in Whippany, and I mean, the main reason I really went was, of course, for Lana Parrilla, and that's where the story comes into play. So my dad, he was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer in 2016. And that was around the time I actually started watching Once Upon a Time. Like, I was like, for the very first time, like, on Netflix. And I think if I'm not mistaken, like, it was season 5 or season 6 was coming up or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head what season it was, but I know the new season was actually about to start within a month. So I finished every single season up to the current season that was on Netflix, and then I found like the first half or whatever, the other half that wasn't on Netflix, on like some site, and I watched it literally in a month and a half straight. But anyways, my dad was diagnosed with stage 4 brain cancer, and he had a stroke after brain surgery. and they gave him 24 hours to live after after he had the stroke. And I watched this show, and this show. I was at the part in the series. I can't remember exactly where it registered and gave me it, but the show is based on hope. And
Right.
it was a scene with Lana Parrilla where Ginnifer Goodwin was telling her, you have to have hope that you can change or get Henry back or something like that. And
Yeah.
she believed in this, and then Henry like was with her and forgave her, something like that as well. And to me, that watching Lana Parrilla have the hope, and then it the good happened is what kind of inspired me with with this, and gave me hope that my dad will be okay, everything will be fine. They give him 24 hours to live, but she said miracles happen on the show, so like miracles will happen. My dad will get this miracle. My dad got the miracle, and he woke up from his coma. He was given a year and a half to live. Literally in about 2 weeks, it's gonna mark 4 years that he was initially diagnosed. He should have been dead about a year and a half ago.
Wow.
Tumor
That's,
still
you know what?
stable.
That's
So,
insane. That's yeah.
right, and that's where my dream came true. I needed to go, and I needed to tell Anna Priya this, so I got a photo op with her. I spent like over like $3,000 on this convention of my own money that I worked so hard for.
Right.
Spent so much money to go just so I could tell her this. So I got the photo shoot, and I knew I wanted to tell her at the autograph signing the full story if I was given enough time. I didn't think I would be able to tell her any of it, to be honest with you. But I wanted to tell her, because we didn't tell my entire family or anything, because my dad just got an MRI the day before I met Lana Priya, and he ended up and he got his results back, and his tumor was still stable, and I believe it was in October, so he was I think it was at the time 2 years brain cancer free. So I told her that during the photo shoot, and it was like amazing, and we did like our hug pose. And then a little later that day, we did at the autograph signing. I told her I want to tell her the story, but I don't have a lot of time, and I literally spent, I
Right.
believe I spent like more money. Like I spent 3,000 just on tickets and like all the other extras, autograph and photo ops and that. But there was an auction they were doing. I probably spent about a good 5 grand just on an extra ticket, a front of the line to meet her, and like a big like mate poster that I literally still have in my apartment, like tucked away for safekeepings. And just so I can meet her so badly, like I wanted to see her. And I wrote a book about my dad. I wrote two now, but at the time I had one out about my dad and his journey. And I had her sign it on the front, and then I had her sign the second autograph that I also won in the middle with all the other autographs. And I asked her if I could tell her the story, but I told her it's a long story. She's like, you know what? You paid for all this time. It looks like it's an important story. You take all the time you
Yeah.
need to tell me the story. I don't care how long it takes. This is your time. You spent hard money that you work for to come see me. Tell me your story. And I'm like, thank you so much. So I told her it. She looked at the lady next to her, and she goes, do you have a freaking Kleenex? She started crying, right? And then after I told her, she asked if she could take a picture of my book. I said, "Yeah, of course." She asked. I showed her. I just picked up my picture with her, the hug pose, and she took a picture of that. And then she offered for a free autograph on that picture, which she also did, which I didn't even. She didn't even want me to pay extra for that. And then I said thank you so much, and I said bye, and I was getting ready to leave, and she goes, where are you going? Where the hell are you going? I'm like looking confused. I'm like, I told you the story and everything. I don't want to hold up the line. She's like, you can't tell me a story like that and not get a hug. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I came over, and I gave her a hug, and I started crying, and she was like wiping the tears off my eyes, because like this is like a dream come true. Like, this lady that gave me hope that my dad's gonna be okay, just from a TV show that she's in. And I'm getting to tell her this, and she's treating me like this. And then I got a bunch of like tagged messages on Facebook, because I'm in this group on Facebook for Once Upon a Time called the Heart of the Truest Believers. And they tag a bunch of tags. I'm like, who the hell is tagging me all this time? Because I'm at the convention still, and I'm looking at them, and I seen that she posted on her Instagram story a picture of us hugging, and she put a caption on it, like literally wrote on the picture itself, like I guess with the text editor or whatever, and she goes, "This man," and like it was like life made.
That's brilliant. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it
And
really
here's the thing,
is.
here's the secret about Lana Parrilla.
Okay.
Everybody watched her for 7 years ripping people's hearts out of other people's chests.
Right.
Her real magic skill is she can make the heart that's in your chest feel 10 times bigger just by chatting with her.
Exactly.
That's the secret.
Exactly. She was great. She really was, and I mean, everybody I met was great. But like I said, the main reason I went was for Lana Parrilla, and it wasn't just because I wanted to meet her because she was my favorite, my favorite character on the show, or because I love her, or whatever, or because she's a great actress, whatever. It was because of the story, and I needed to tell her. I just needed, to
Right.
get that out and tell her that. But continuing on with the interview, what was it like working with Adam Horowitz and Eddie Kitsis?
You know what? They are two incredibly accomplished writer creators who have managed to do what very few people can do. Like there's a wow, like what they've been able to pull off and the projects they've been able to create is
Right.
it's magical. So they managed to and to get a show on the air for that long, to get spin-offs, like there were some elements of what they pulled off that were honestly just truly magical.
Right. Yeah, and the thing is, like, and it's not even like just with Once Upon a Time. They done it before that with The Lost. Like, I mean, two huge successful shows. How do you do that?
Well, that's exactly it. So these guys have put a lot of work, and I would also say they put a lot of the right people in place.
Yeah.
In terms of casting, in terms of the writing team, it's been quite impressive. And I believe the guys most recently have been working on Amazing Stories, which is really cool to relaunch such a classic story for a lot of us who I watched the earlier versions of it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Eddie, at least, if not Eddie and Adam, were both involved all the way back in the Felicity days. So these are guys that aren't strangers or new to the whole craft, and it's pretty cool what they've managed to pull off.
It really is.
Did that and Lost and Dead Summer, Once Upon a Time. They did the Once Upon a Time in Wonderland spinoff, which was pretty cool. So it's pretty impressive.
Definitely. And the thing is, I mean, you have to be talented, first of all, to do that. Like, that really is an amazing feat that they've accomplished to do all that. I haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Wonderland. I really want to see that. I know it was only one season or something, but I really would like to see that. But, like, they just put a major twist on all things Disney. Like you think you know these Disney stories, and you know the Disney stories that Walt Disney and Disney, Studios told you, but do you really know the stories from Adam and Eddie? Because I don't think you do. Because they were quite intriguing how they did things.
It's an impressive feat to say the least.
So, what was your most memorable moment while being part of Once Upon a Time?
You know what? It's an interesting one because I would say they all sort of blend together at this point because now we're already in 2020 and the world's just different now.
Yeah.
But I would say I have so many memories of such. It's the family. If I were to sum it up, it's the family, and it's. I still talk to several of the crew members on a daily basis. I still talk to several of my castmates on a daily basis.
Right.
I talk to a lot of the fans on a daily basis. Like I worked on, I've done characters for Supernatural and Smallville and two of the Stargates and been in cartoons of Dragon Ball Z, X-Men, Hello Kitty. Like I've been a part of some pretty cool franchises.
Nice.
But this is the one time where I'm still in constant communication with my family, and I think that the Once Upon a Time fandom and the cast and the crew is just a really magical experience we all shared. So I would just say the one thing that I reflect on the most is that element of family.
Right. I definitely can agree with that. So, what was the best part about being part of Once Upon a Time, and what was the worst?
Well, probably the same thing. It's a time to be careful what you wish for. One of the things was I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be so interconnected with everybody. So I feel like it was a really unique experience to have this reach that was global. Like we I have friends all over the world now because of the series, and that was interesting. But then trying to keep that many friendships is complicated.
Right.
And it was great.
I think I'm losing you a little bit.
It brings out the best in people in most cases, and
Right.
sometimes it doesn't always do that with everybody. So there's just always a balance and sort of just an awareness that you're just on a bigger stage sometimes, and you just
Right.
have to. Sometimes you just gotta to accept with with a lot of exposure and a lot of I guess attention. It usually brings lots of beautiful things, but it also sometimes brings some of the less positive things that we all experience in the world. So.
Exactly. So, which season of Once Upon a Time is your personal favorite, and which one do you like the least?
My favorite season, without question, is season 1. I thought season 1 was the most fun. It was the one where we all got to figure out what the heck the show was, while the fans got to figure out what the heck the show was at the same time. And I think that's the magic of most shows, is that an early season, a first season, usually does that.
Right.
In terms of least favorite, I don't know if I have a least favorite. I just think number 1 was my favorite.
Okay.
But I thought every other season had reasons to love it.
Right. Yes.
Even in the 7th season, where a lot of the original cast members, most of its original cast members weren't in season 7, or were only in for a small portion of it,
right.
It still gave us an opportunity to introduce so many cool new people to the family that, there's just as much love and affection for that as there is for the original 6.
Agreed completely. So, did you ever watch the show when it was airing on TV during its run, and do you still watch it on streaming platforms like Netflix?
I have seen it. We did watch, and there's actually many of the cast we used to get together and watch it together on Sunday nights. We used to all get together and watch the show, and that was kind of fun. So we'd have viewing parties, and I don't know if I have seen an episode now in a couple of years, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I know when we were doing conventions and things like that, it was often kind of fun that if the show was on air while we were at a convention, some of us would have a good time to, watch it with the people that were there to support us at the convention. That was always a fun thing.
Right.
But yeah, I've seen every episode multiple times, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's probably worth a rewatch at some point.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't actually watched it in a while as well, to be honest with you. It's been a while because I've been very busy with my production studio and getting my first feature film out there because it comes out in theaters in October. So I've just been so busy getting that all situated. So it's been very busy. So, and plus I work full-time for the U.S. Coast Guard, so... Yeah, I haven't really watched it much. Like, I mean, even I've always been even obsessed with professional wrestling. Like, I would always watch professional wrestling. I could never miss an episode of wrestling. And like, I've been because I work, starting at 5 o'clock, so I have to be up at 4:30 every morning. I'm usually in bed by 8:30, 9 o'clock most nights, if not earlier. And wrestling's on from 8 to 11 on Mondays. So, like, I'm always in bed by the time that happens, and then usually almost every weekend after work, currently I'm teleworking because of the whole pandemic, but I would always drive 3 hours to go back home to visit my parents for the weekend, so I usually work till 11 from 11 o'clock, like 5 to 11 on Fridays, because I make up the extra time throughout the week, and I drive to visit my parents and help take care of my dad and everything, give my mom a little break. And I end up doing a 3-hour drive home right after putting in a 6-hour work day and being up at 4:30 in the morning. So, yeah, it gets very tiring. So I'm usually in bed early. And, so I haven't really had time to watch wrestling or even Once Upon a Time for that matter. Like, I don't have much time for, other than, work and doing my production stuff. And, I try to get these interviews in as much as I can. I'm so glad that we were able to make the interview happen. I mean, you're actually I was supposed to have 2 this week, and both of them ended up getting postponed. The other one is actually on Monday because that's when I found out my car was was shut down, and we went to the store also during that interview, but we didn't know it was the battery at that time. So we ended up going on Monday to the store, me and my neighbor, to get because he's a mechanic. So we were gonna get the oil and everything like that because we thought it was because the oil cap was off, so we thought it was something with the oil, but it wasn't. So then we figured we'd wait till the next day, which is the day I had your interview scheduled originally for yesterday, and we ended up getting a new battery, and we put it in, and like right when he put the battery in and finished all that up and everything, I started the car and I started and I screamed so loud. I think the neighbors, like the entire complex, heard me, and I'm like, F yeah! Because I was like, I don't gotta buy a new car. My oil thing didn't flood or anything, so that's not gonna. So it didn't fry my engine, so I don't gotta pay $5,000 or whatever for an engine. Because if that was the case, I'd just buy a new car.
Right.
So that was exciting. So the last question I do got for you though is, do you got any projects in the works, or any websites, social media pages, or anything else that you would like to promote to our listeners?
I would love to. Yeah, you know what? I got a couple. So
cool.
I write and perform in a TV show called Hipsterverse, and if you go to hipsterverse.com, you can find that. And it's a super fun show I do. It's kind of in the same sort of comedic tone as Parks and Rec or The Office. And we have a crazy amount of fun, and season 1 is going to be relaunched again this fall as we start shooting season 2.
Okay.
I'm also working on a new animated series, and I can't say much more than I will have some of my old Once Upon a Time friends involved in it. I work as a writer on it, and I do one of the voices, and some of my friends from Once Upon a Time will be also lending their voice. On top of that, I just finished releasing a feature film called Surge 17, which is another project that was a lot of fun that just was released on Apple and I believe Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. And then I got 2 other shows coming up, one called Exchanging Vows and Skylar. So, yeah, lots of lots of things coming up, lots of fun projects. And just really grateful to get to do what I love for a living.
Oh, that's awesome. And now, was all that filmed before the pandemic started, or are you filming? Are things starting to open up in California? Or are you filming like out in a different location, or?
No, actually, I'm all the way up here in Vancouver, Canada.
Oh, okay.
We are actually back. So we do shows like Riverdale and Arrow and Flash.
And Once Upon a Time was there.
Yeah, so Once Upon a Time was here. So all of these shows are just getting back to camera in the next couple of weeks.
That is great.
We're actually quite busy up here. So, we're very COVID sensitive and we're aware of it, but we're also, we're very lucky that we're about to start shooting most of the shows again up here.
That is awesome to hear. So anybody that also wants to find out what Michael's up to after this interview does air, you'll be able to just go to his IMDb page and you'll see all the projects that he's currently in and he's been in the past and what he has coming up in the future after this interview does air, and you'll be able to stay tuned in all of his projects.
I'll give you one last thing, too.
Okay.
If anybody who goes to a place called storyinstitute.ca, I own and operate a post-secondary school for people wanting to work professionally in film and television. And on my board of directors is Sean McGuire, who played Robin Hood. And some of our teachers are people like Tassia Tellis from The 100, or Devin Dalton from the BFG, or My Little Pony, or Kirby Morrow, who's Goku on Dragon Ball Z. So we have a lot of different working professional actors that we've all got together, opened up a post-secondary school, and we're teaching actors to do what we do. So if anybody is listening and is an aspiring actor, writer, or filmmaker, go to storyinstitute.ca and check it out, because that's we would love to help other people do what we do. We think it's a real cool gift, and it's one that should be shared.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, and I thank you so much for your time, Michael. It's been an honor and a pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much.
Yep.
We'll do this anytime you like.
Awesome. Thank you so much, and stay safe and have a great rest of your night.
Yeah, you too. We'll talk again.
Thank you. Bye.